you can show them here.
Well, what kind of strats are you hoping to see as we going in here? Because Revival, while they have very veteran players, a lot of them actually haven't played that often in professional play in recent memory. So they're coming in a little cold, possibly.
Yeah, iRemix, anybody will be familiar with his name, formerly of the Gladiators Legion, on the ball, actually, on this Hammond. Revival going with a very DPS-heavy composition, solo tank. This is all about high mobility, high damage. They want to skirt around second wind, try and burst down some of those shields, work away some of those cooldowns, and that's when Revival have their best opportunity to pounce. Manitin, not on the D.Va this time around, this time on the Sombra, will be looking for an early EMP to try and open things up. But Revival doesn't really have any point presence, but might not matter with Mangachu on the Widowmaker of all things, taking down both support players. Man alive.
2 kills starting off for Mangachu at this first game of the season for Revival, and I love what they're running too, because basically they have to worry about Mangachu's sightlines, but they also have to worry about Apply and Manitin and Ball with the iRemix, and they're just going all over the place, rotating everywhere, bringing attention to them, and when you're looking at Apply, you might not be looking at a Manitin, and that opens up a hack for him.
Exactly, and check out this ultimate economy to Revival, nearly up to all 6 ultimates. This is super deadly for Second Wind to push in here because they've had to put Shredlock onto the Winston now, Azire on his own Sombra, and so anytime you have this many hero swaps, you're going to be giving up that ultimate economy.
And they finally do find their first pick as Second Wind have found themselves a 6v5, taking the ball out of the equation, but Revival are going to use their ultimates, and they're going to use them well. The Pulse Bomb kill, but things have actually been evened up now that Frill has taken down Epps. It's 4v4 right now. The Revival do own the point. They have a little bit of a better defensive position as Mangachu is going to get zoned out. Somehow does pepper in a ton of damage before going down. This is still anyone's fight, but there are still more members of Revival on the point.
Exactly, and now Remix swinging back in here will maintain control of this point for his team. Second Wind, they had a really good thing going there, but they're just now coming into a Pulse Bomb for Frill. Azire still 66% to that EMP, whereas Manitin has already used one. Epps has that trans online as well as the minefield from Remix. So Revival are going to be looking at, a really comfortable hold for the next couple of fights as long as they dole out these ultimates appropriately.
Apply's going to try to make it into the back line, tries to get Diana out of the equation. The Discord Orb was on there, but Xrath able to get that nano and survive. And so Mangachu also going to be taken down pretty low, but he's going to get enabled. He's already back at full health and gets the kill on the debut of a Shredlock here on a Second Wind. Revival still having that numbers advantage. Apply goes down. That's not really that big of a deal because they've already gotten the kills to potentially win the round.
Exactly, 93%, only 5 more seconds for Second Wind to desperately try and tag an EMP out for Azire, but no follow-up. This was part of the storyline that we saw earlier today as well. Team's not really able to capitalize off the backs of some of those major ultimates.
And so Revival just needs to clean up the point. Second Wind will not have an opportunity to get all 6 members to try to contest at this point in time. So Revival looking very strong. It's very, very likely that they're going to get the 100-0. They just got to get the rest of the bodies of Second Wind off of the point.
And it will happen right here. Round 1 for Revival. And Second Wind, again, some pretty good adaptations. Throwing Xerath onto the Ana is always a good move when you have have a team that's relying on a Zen's trance across the aisle. You get a big anti-nade out there, you shut down all of that healing. However, Second Wind kind of stumbled on that first stair going down and just couldn't catch themselves again. They could never quite make up their ultimate economy disadvantage, and Revival just took that opportunity and ran with it.
Yeah, cool, calm, and collected was Revival, and they're probably feeling really good going into this round because we've got the Pharah God right now, and that is Mangachu. This man knows the ins and outs of this character more so than maybe any other Pharah player in the world.
He's like a human dive bomb. It's really insane the amount of value that he can get from this Pharah, and you can tell that he's very, very experienced on this hero, able to take all these off angles. He knows exactly the limits of this bird of prey, and right now the bird of prey would like to, fly into roost because we're probably going to see some swaps coming out from Revival.
Well, maybe knowing the limits, knowing that maybe the Pharah is not going to be that great against the Goat's composition going on the other side, especially against the Ana who could sleep them out of the air. So now Revival going to go ahead and come in here with that Goat's composition. It's not, The Ana is going to be so big to get those sleeps, to get those grenades. Eps and Transcendence, it will absolutely be depleted if a good grenade gets put on. So you really want to see who gets painted purple. But right now, Second Wind's getting painted with damage, even though Barbecue and Exawrath are going to come back and get those kills. While Second Wind were taking that damage, Revival were also on the other side, not really looking at their positioning, and they got taken advantage of themselves.
Shredlock was taken down to like 20 HP or something, and Revival maybe a little bit tunneled too far on trying to burn that Winston down, left their backline exposed, and now Second Wind will be able to capture this point. Only 17% going to Revival, so that's not bad at all. However, Second Wind have to be expecting a very ultimate heavy fight coming through. Rally, Brav, both available for Revival in this next fight.
And so Revival also running with that Lucio, so they're going to be able to speed boost on it to the point and try to get onto it. But right now they're getting buffed by Second Wind's damage, and this is going to be a up close and personal fight right now as Megachu, that aggressive Brigida, is going to try to get up right into their faces. We do see an Earthshatter go down, but not a lot of people on the ground. Desire is going to go ahead and use that Graviton Surge, and Shredlock going to get the first blood for this fight. There was a lot of craziness at the beginning of it, but Second Wind are going to calm it down, get 2 picks, and Revival are going to have to try one more time.
Yeah, that was a pretty heavy investment for Revival right there. Second Wind nearly to that halfway point in terms of control, and still 3 ultimates to their name. So especially given, hello, I'm Halo's skill here, we're probably not going to be able to get that sound barrier out of him unless, we have a shatter coming out from Remix or some other big tank ultimate that Revival don't have right now. Manitin, he's not even in neck. That's more precious time, more precious percentage that Second Wind are racking up right now. Revival got to do something soon, but if they pull the trigger too early, they're going to find themselves poorly equipped to deal with what Second Wind throw their way. Epsis Transcendence is the only ultimate they have online.
Well, you could say, hey, let's go ahead and throw our bodies in there, but they should have done that way earlier if they were going to try to get the ult away from Second Wind. And this time now, Revival are in 1-5 territory. If they lose this, they might lose it the round proper. So Epsis is going to use that Transcendence, already seeing the benefit of that grenade. iRemix was purple, did not get any of the healing, and is back at spawn, but things have evened up. It's a 5v5 thanks to Megachu's pick onto Shredlock, so no Reinhardts on either side. But now the trades keep coming in, and Eve Grab coming in from Manity to change the course of this fight. Revival need to find themselves on at the point. Overtime does start, and it's with that Eve Grab isn't going to be enough. As of right now, it's not looking like it will, but the Earthshatter could bring them right back into this fight, Ham.
Apply now throwing out his own grab, but there's no more bodies left for Revival to try and capitalize on this desperation time for Revival, and it's not going to happen here once the Brigida does go down. Second Wind tying things up on Busan.
Second Wind, especially after getting just yoinked off of that first round, right? 100-0, coming back and doing pretty much the same thing to Revival with a little bit more competitive, but Revival goes down in the end. This is tied 1-1.
Shredlock doing a lot better right there on Downtown than he was on Sanctuary. The Reinhardt is a pretty good look for him. We do know that this is his first game in Contenders with Second Wind. I believe it's actually his first game ever, so this is a lot of pressure on the shoulders of this main tank. We've very familiar with that GOATS meta now. We know how important having that main tank in the right place, doing the right things is for your team. So Shredlock, good luck, buddy. Things are tied up here 1-1. You gotta, just tread that line between aggression and calculation. And it looks like aggression's going to be the item on the menu today.
The Reinhardts race to the high ground. They see each other put their shields up, and now the fight will happen once someone brings that neutral zone, crosses that line, gets that shield dash, gets that CC or that pick. And right now, Barbie might be the first one to get out of that neck, and that is going to be the case. Without that defense matrix, it's going to be a lot harder for Second Wind to stay up on it this fight. You're seeing that right now with iRemix getting that pick. This is Revival's fight.
Oh, absolutely. Revival going to take easy control of that point. You saw that DMX so crucial because not only does that mean that none of the projectiles can be gobbled up, it's the signal to iRemix, who is already 93% up to that Earthshatter, to just, swing free, swing for the hills, man. There's very little that Second Wind can do to try and rebuff that GOAT's death ball.
And so Second Wind coming in with no ultimates. Exawrath also already below half health. He's got to have some healing done to him. This time around, he's really trying to get that Transcendence because Second Wind don't really have a shot at a fight without that Transcendence, and they don't even have the Zenyatta anymore. The next fight's going to be the one that second win, I think, has to win, but they're looking at Revival's ultimates, and there's a ton of check marks over there.
Oh, exactly. It's going to be a big Grav v. Grav battle in the next fight. Second win coming up to some of those crucial support ultimates so they can elongate those fights, keep things brawling on the objective. But right now, Revival has just been preempting every single one of their engagements. Rally up for Frill, though, going to provide a bit of buffer for second win to try and engage.
And so second win using that rally to get into this fight, and Earthshatter going to knock two onto the ground. Negachu's going to go back to spawn, so second win do exactly what they need to do. We said this is the fight that they needed to win, and they're going to do just that if the focus fire is there, if they're able to clean it up, which they do. So second win are able to flip the point. Revival, though, coming in with the bomb and Transcendence.
Bomb Trans, not bad at all. I'm not quite sure where Apply's Grav ended up going. Maybe tunneled into a black hole itself. That's one more tool down for Revival, but they do have quite a bit of time to build up that ultimate bank once again. Manhattan might just go for one of those lucky long bombs, see if they can crack the shield of Shredlock, set up something for iRemix.
And so the Graviton here is going to be coming in second. Wins away first. They do get that initial pick onto I at Remix, and Revival are going to go ahead and cede that space. No need to feed more ult charge into second win.
Exactly. You want to hold your horses. It's all about knowing when to strike, not just all out aggression. However, this has given second wind a time to catch their breath, get that ultimate bank healthy and up again. Hello, I'm Halo, very close to that sound barrier. Revival themselves, kind of losing some of that momentum. Second Wind have nearly caught up, and iRemix is going to be the closest one to that Earthshatter. We got to see some kind of bash setup because Manhattan's bomb is gone.
Well, second Wind getting closer to their ultimate in the support side than Revival is, as Remix is going to shatter and then die. 2 kills coming in from Barbie. Second Wind looking strong still.
Oh man, that feeling when you're going down a long, narrow hallway as a Lucy, and you're like, yeah, I'm probably not going to make it out the other side.
And so, unfortunately, the Revival is going to be at spawn for iRemix and the rest of the team. But they're coming in with that grab. There is a Transcendence and a Sound Barrier on the other side for second win. So they're well prepared to handle whatever Revival brings them. And Revival are running out of time. We've reached that 80% for second win. So second win wins this fight. They win the map against this Revival team on their first, go round here in North American Contenders. Cambridge also has that ultimate apply. Going to go in and throw that grab. The only person in it is Shredlock. He's going to get saved by that Transcendence, and during all of this, Barbie is going to get the kill on the Zenyatta on F2, is not going to be able to use that Trans, dies before being able to use that Transcendence. They really, really needed that in second win, are primed to go up 1-0 against Revival.
It's gonna happen, folks, right here. Big round of applause for our second wind team. Barbie really pulling more than his weight right there in that team fight. You saw his positioning. I mean, we know that divas like to live on the high ground, able to get that bird's eye view on what's happening, figure out who needs their matrix the most. But Barbie was not only the one to finish off the Zen right there, but also finish off iRemix, setting up for that free shatter to come through for second win. So, despite the fact that this is a new team on paper, they're working together very well.
Do you think if the Eps doesn't die with Transcendence there, if he uses it to save himself because he was obviously very low, do you think that fight might turn a separate way, or was second wind in control that whole time?
It would be really hard thing for them to turn that around. Second Wind was playing with house money at that point. You had all of your ultimates lined up. I mean, if Remix didn't hit that shatter, the way that he was, developing these shatters so quickly, he would have one in, another few seconds. And especially in that overtime chaos, that's where Reinhardt's can get quite a lot of value from those shatters. You find some kind of off angle, people are really distracted, you can get a lot of value. So I would hedge my bets and say that, Second Wind probably might have just taken that straight up.
It's funny because, we've gotten to know Epps over a couple seasons, and his big thing 2 seasons ago was early trances. At that time, the trance just never came. And so he just got to split the difference going into the next game. And let's talk about our little baby Ryan Shredlock as well. His first ever competitive game on this team of second win. What better team to be on your first competitive game? Because there's like this special energy about the second win squad, right?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, we basically could create an entire Overwatch team worth of players from second win who have graduated either into Overwatch League or moved laterally into another Contenders team. So you're totally right, Boop. There's something about, this team that just is develops unknown talent so well. Unknown talent. I mean, we apparently Frill has developed quite a lot of main tank talent, and he's a known at this point. But yeah, I think this is a really good place for Shredlock to cut his teeth. I mean, they took away that very first win on Control, so you can't get much better than that.
Well, and I really want to credit them on their comeback, getting 100-0'd. And, I think a lot of people might think, all right, Revival's got this. They've got the players, second win. They've got that, they're coming in with a newer roster, and it's second wind, right? For some reason, you always doubt them. And maybe we need to learn that second wind, it's not who's on the team. It's, just the fact that, their coaching staff is really great. And they seem to really develop their players and care about those players. And you can't count that out in terms of success.
Exactly. And, when happy players, happy team, good plays. And that's probably a large part of why they've been doing so well through so many seasons, through so many iterations of their roster. And hopefully for any second win fans, they're going to be able to carry that momentum into Anubis.
Anubis might show us a little bit of a different look for both of these teams, as the teams with better teamwork tend to do better on maps that aren't Control. And so Control can, break down into skirmishes. It can go down into 1v1s. And on Assault, you really got to play super tight. So what are we going to see potentially on the offensive defense from these teams based off of the first round that we saw them on?
So given what we saw earlier today, we're probably going to see, a bit more of that triple matchup, that mirror matchup. If we look at Overwatch League, Bunker has been quite popular on many assault maps. That's always an option for both of these teams. So, it really depends on kind of, what you're tasting right now. And Revival showing apply on the Widowmaker Frill as well. We're actually, is this Clockwork comp coming out from second wind? We got Shredlock on the Orisa, Torbjorn, Roadhog, and May. Those are the three crucial parts. Whether or not you have solo healer or Widowmaker is up to you, but second wind are going to give that Clockwork Vendetta comp a try here in North America. Revival themselves going to be running Mangachu on the May, a hero that he plays quite a lot, but hasn't found as much success with in the recent Contenders history.
I actually really love what Mangachu did there. He protected his team just by putting a wall up. There's no way that they're going to take any of that damage from this second win composition. And so really Xerath really wants to yoink and oink, right? Use that halt hook combo. Barbecue can also put people up on the wall to get that hook down, and Shredlock going to get that first pick. So this Clockwork comp looking really good for second win so far. So now that we've kind of talked about what Clockwork is, can you tell me why it works?
Ooh, give me 2 seconds to enjoy these stinks. Oh, and as we just blinked, folks, Revival turning everything around. iRemix getting on top of Barbie and Shredlock and demolishing them. The last man standing, the last piece of pork between Revival and a point cap. Xerath will go down. And man alive, how have the fortunes turned?
Yes, fortunes have definitely turned, and that's actually a really good segue to talking about this comp, because when it's working, it feels so oppressive, but once that one chain link breaks, everything falls apart.
Clockwork comp functions the best at that mid-range. You cannot really brawl with an Orisa Torb, and you also don't really have any long-range damage. So Second Wind, unfortunately, weren't able to rebuff Revival. They got right on top of that Orisa and took her down. Now we're going to stick with this Orisa, but Frill now swapping onto the Junkrat, another hero that works very well with that solid Orisa, but he's down.
This is not looking good for Second Wind so far, using that res, and these players have to get used to covering the res, especially with these comps, because it's something that they haven't had to do in a very long time. Revival's still going to go up in terms of numbers. Paintbrush is going to show up twice on that kill feed. Revival already in control here on point B, using that snowball to their advantage. They are so close to getting at least a couple tickets for a second win to come in and defend 1-4.
That Barbecue just Desperation Hammond right now, and a hold on from Xerath. Oh man alive, getting walled off by Mangachu. That's gotta be tilting. And now a Molten Core coming out from Desire as well, but it's not going to be quite enough to hold Revival back. This is all just stall to wear the tie bank down.
That was actually a really fun halt there, halting them onto the lava, making them take that damage, delaying the departure of the train just a little bit longer, as Revival only a quarter of a tick away from grabbing this with over 5 minutes. 5 minutes and 29 seconds, I believe, on the clock for Revival. Second win, have a lot of ground to make up.
Oh yeah, they not only have to take that point A as quickly as possible, but but they must also finish out that map. It's a lot of pressure here. 5 minutes 28 seconds, nothing to sniff at. But oh man, I was getting so excited to see some halt hook, some hug and tug between synergy between Shredlock and Exarath, but we just never quite got to that point. Revival has probably watched a bit of this tape and just are like, hey man,
we've all watched
if we right, we've all watched that tape. It's like, hey man, if we just stay at range and poke, we're gonna lose. We're never ever going to win the poke battle, the shield battle against a comp that has an Orisa, a Torp, a Widowmaker, and a Roadhog. So they just speed boosted in. Get your Rind right on top of that Orisa, hammer away, and she's a big metal horse. She's gonna fall into pieces.
Well, it's something that I really love seeing from Revival there is, they got picked off. They went into that fight 65, but something that Mayhem Academy had in spades was grit, right? We talk about that with Envy. We talk about that with Future University. It's like they know their win conditions pretty well. And so even though they're down a member, they know if we can get on top of this Orisa and get a couple more picks, we'll actually come out on top. And that's exactly what happened. They did not give up.
Yeah, a bit of that Vancouver Titans flavor. Sometimes the main tank is just there as bait. But now, Second Wind themselves have to push all the way through Anubis. No shenanigans here, just a bit more of that GOATS comp. But I do like what Revival are showing. You got Eps on the Ana. So this means if Second Wind are relying on that trance healing, might not come.
Might not come indeed. And so now that Revival is running that, and another thing that they're going to be able to do is isolate a member with a sleep dart. Sometimes you can get, Shredlock onto the ground, take a nap, and you put that bomb out there, and there's not going to be that protection from that shield, as they're going to go ahead and go through that left side, which is very common when it comes to running these comps. They're probably going to wait for Hello and Halo speed boost before they try to attack the point proper. Revival is saying, hey, come to us.
Exactly. You have a fly on the high ground, able to shell down so much damage without worrying about getting taken down himself. You see iRemix 41% up to that primal. Could be a little bit higher, but not too bad for a very first engage. Second Wind are playing KG for a reason.
And so Remix still trying to find a really good vantage point to get to that primal rage. Actually, I think loses an opportunity by not being on that high ground at the start of this fight. Let's see if that's going to be the difference between them, grabbing this point or losing it for Second Wind. And now Revival still kind of playing the slow game around Second Wind, who seem a little afraid to actually engage and get in there full of force. They're trying to get a pick. They're trying to get that damage and get to those ultimates so they feel more confident when they finally do rip the cord and go in, as iRemix is going to be the one, and they finally do get to that primal rage just in a time. So he's going to save himself, and Apply is going to get that D-Mech as well. So the slow game actually going to be a little bit better for the defensive side for Revival, as they're going to get to their ults a little bit faster.
Yeah, Manitin has been D-Mech'd, however, but the Transcendence has been pulled out from Second Wind, and that's all that Revival needed. iRemix himself taken very low, but the rest of his team picking up the slack here. Big grab out from Apply, and that's going to be all she wrote.
Not 100% sure they absolutely needed that grab. It was definitely like the cherry on top. They were definitely going to win the fight with it. Maybe would win it without it, so they went with the surefire thing, invested the grab, but now there's not a check mark on their side. Remix could get to primal if he gets onto the high ground and gets a lot of that tickle damage in, but right now Second Wind looking at an advantageous attack here.
Exactly. You know that because Eps is on Ana, there's no Transcendence coming, and Paintbrush still a little bit away from that sound barrier. And right now, that's going to be, you got to escape here. Manitin taken extremely low. Big anti onto both of the healers for Second Wind. Probably going to give him pause.
Yeah, Remix is going to get to that primal rage just in time. And what the anti-nade did was it forced them to stop and stay there, because there was no way they're going to and ask them to stop right there, because Manitin gets another Eden grab for Revival. Last time game one, it didn't really matter, but this time around, they're going to go ahead and nano this. Winston from iRemix. Papers having to use that sound barrier. I didn't see a ton of shields go down though, so Second Wind now losing Dreadlock, losing their Brigitte of Frill. Now Revival already up 3 members. This defense is still going to go strong.
Very strong, stalwart, concrete defense from Revival right here. Second Wind just waffling. You don't want to be caught in tiny hallways as a Reinhardt. Sure, you can get quite a bit of hammer damage in if you choose to swing, but that means that you leave the rest of your team vulnerable. Plus, iRemix's Tesla cannon doesn't respect your shielding or your barriers like that. So Second Wind, they didn't have that speed boost available to go and boost themselves out of that really dangerous situation. And check this out. Remix has yet another primal rage. This guy is going crazy.
Oh, Manhattan going to throw the bomb into the back line. Tried to make a cheeky play, wasn't able to find the kills, and Apply going to use that Graviton Surge. It forces out that Transcendence. This is our, regular GOAT stance that we see every now and then. Remix now going to have to use that Primal Rage, and Xerath is going to be one that's isolated out. Really good focus coming in from Revival, taking that Zenyatta out of the equation. Barbie's going to have to be forced to use that self-destruct to save his mech. Is he going to be able to get back in? No, he will not. As F's going to get the final blow for Revival, who are down to 8 seconds to hold and win at this map.
I love Remix's timing, his target prioritization so good. He always targets that Zenyatta Xerath forced onto the Ana now, but they just lost Azire, the main source of damage for this Ghost comp.
Yeah, Remix is nanoed as well, so this monkey is going to be extra tanky and extra destructive. Barbie going to get a consolation prize in at this kill on it too at Mangachu, but Revival, don't get it wrong, is still pretty much in control, but maybe not for long, as maybe they let up on the brakes just a little bit more than they should have, as Revival now struggling to keep some bodies on it to the point. Apply, though, going to try to be the hero, get 2 kills, but this Graviton Surge might actually bring second win back into this fight, especially since Manhattan is slept, and Azire going to get 2 more kills. This is not over yet. Second win still pushing and fighting. They want this point, Ham.
What an insane sleep from Xerath. That made all of the difference right there. They took a 3v3 and made it a 3v2. Remix was forced out of the fight. There was no way he could even body block, let alone bubble his team. And Second Wind now have the opportunity with this Shatter, with the Nano Boost nearly online, to snowball this into a map completion. Revival, they're drained. There's nothing online except for this sound barrier.
The good news for Revival is there is no Graviton Surge coming in from a Second Wind, so they're going to use that sound barrier in an offensive fashion, and now they're going to use that Earth Shatter. Manhattan is on at the ground. Paintbrush is going to use that sound barrier. That's going to be really great because a couple of his teammates are at purple, and now this is just good old-fashioned Overwatch after these ults. The 2 DF fleets going to be goats versus goats, hammers versus hammers, lasers versus lasers, and so now what Second Wind really needs is to try to get a pick, use this grenade, try to assert your dominance if that biotic grenade covers a ton of Revival members, and actually it looks like Second Wind is going to do a little bit of a reset before coming in on the point.
Yeah, I would say so. Second Wind, they themselves now empty in terms of ultimates. You can either try and take this fight very fast and aggressive, force something out. Yes, Remix shatters and he goes down immediately.
Remix wasn't even able to complete the shatter. He goes down right after casting that ultimate, but Revival still coming back, getting the kills. Second Wind just ran out of gas there.
Yeah, I mean, when you're out of ultimates, you're basically guaranteed to lose that mirror matchup, bar some kind of miracle. So Second Wind kind of just decided to pull the trigger. Hey, maybe we can force something out of Revival. And I think that was actually not a bad move at all, because you take a look at those ultimates, you don't really have any support ultimates to speak of, but you can at least threaten the grab from Azire.
And so Apply is going to use his grab to try to keep them from at the point. That's exactly what's going to happen. When you have grab and the opposing team does not have Transcendence or really any ultimate, that grab is all you're going to need to win that fight.
Winner, winner, chicken dinner, indeed.
Grunto.
Yeah. My apologies. Yes, a Grunto dinner, which... MREs? Anyways, Second Wind, they're going to take that lost fight. No real big loss. They do only have 2 minutes, but trying to throw that grab into that lost fight. I mean, Azire didn't even have it online, so now this is their best chance.
Oh, Xerath doubling his ultimate charge, I think, with 1 volley there, and they really need this Transcendence to really compete on at this point. It looks like they only might get 1 more shot with the ultimates that they want. The rest of the team looking pretty good. Azire's got that grab. Shredlock and Hello Halo will have their ultimates, but we're really waiting for Xerath's Trans for them to really attack here.
Yeah, exactly. You don't want to go in deep without that guarantee of some kind of safety, but if Second Wind just keep whiling away their time here, Revival have been very disciplined in their ultimate usage. Each time they come in, they only use 1, and with that stagger kill onto Barbie, that's more time that Second Wind have to give up that they can't afford to lose.
And so they're going to get another staggered kill, but looking on the bright side, this does allow the members who are alive to get to those ultimates, and Second Wind will have a 6 ultimate push coming up, and looking on the other side, there is no grab, there is no rally, but they do have what they need to potentially defend against these 6 ultimates coming their way.
Yeah, no grab just yet. So Second Wind have a very, very narrow window of opportunity for Azire to get that one off first and see if they can try and even things up against Revival, who have every advantage, positionally speaking, in the book. Second Wind are the ones who have to make this fight a little bit more advantageous, and so far they can't even get through the halls.
Oh, Exo-Wrath pulling an Epps for the first round, dying with Transcendence. The Earthshatter goes through 2 members of Second Wind on the ground. Sound barrier is there, and the reason why you're seeing Second Wind invest here is because they don't feel like they have enough time to actually compete for this place. But I actually think they did. If they kind of just let up just a little bit, these picks here, like on Shredlock, even though Mansion is down, the pick on Shredlock is going to make this so it's going to be impossible for a proper 6v5 coming in for Second Wind. As Revival, though, pushing a little bit too close to the sun. They're getting burned. Apollo's Chariot and Revival having a little bit in common there, as Revival now using a couple members, allowing Second Wind to get on to the point. That could have been one and done for them, but now we have overtime on at the point. Apply going to use that Graviton Surge Extra, finally using that Transcendence to keep the rest of the team safe. Self-destruct gets nothing. Earthshatter going to be doing the same. Revival now, and Second Wind functioning with no ultimates. Will Azire be able to get to that ultimate? And if he does, it's going to be up to Manitin to eat it. 2 kills now for Second Wind. Azire will be going down. Manitin going to try to save the day, but 3 kills up now for Second Wind. Is that going to be enough? It looks like it will, as Revival, I think, admittedly bungles an opportunity to put the stake into Second Wind here on Anubis and let them complete the round.
Epps transing after the round is over. You can't take it with you. So unlucky. Second Wind, we'll give them the credit. They wore Epps down first. They knew he was close to Transcendence, and that was the one ultimate that could have saved Revival in that last fight. Unfortunately, iRemix 2 takes a charge all the way across the map, isolates himself on his own spawn in no man's land. Second Wind also clean him right up. And Revival, you're absolutely right. Bungling an opportunity. They could have easily held that even against the 6 ultimates of Second Wind because they were playing such a good proactive game. But in a split second, proactivity can turn into over-aggression. And Second Wind finally kind of just realized what the win condition was. Hey, we can punish them. We can keep pushing up, man.
And they're so far, Revival was so far up in front of the point that, they got to pick onto Shredlock, and they should have just let it go, right? Mm-hmm. Go back to spot, go back to the point, go back to the objective, let Second Wind come into you and play a little bit more of a controlled fight. But the way that all went down, it was kind of every man for themselves. It's not a situation a lot of teams have practice is being up at spawn, getting picked off. A couple of your members getting picked off. At least their spawns were there in time for one more fight on the defense. But that's not what you want if you're that team. You want to do stuff that you practice, that you're used to. This time around, Revival had to figure it out on the fly, and they unfortunately couldn't do it.
Yeah, really unlucky stuff. But since Second Wind are running that very same bunker composition, that clockwork comp, Revival do have a big opportunity here. They can simply do exactly how they did in the past. Hope that Second Wind haven't really learned too much, but already Frill on the high ground, peppering some damage at range at an angle.
Ooh, nice TNT. Gonna definitely make a couple of members of Revival a little weaker, but seeing the HP bars, no one really struggling at the moment. Second Wind is gonna try to play a slower game, right? They want a hook to land, they want to get a pick there, and then once
nice
those
wall.
numbers fall, Revival will fall with them. It gets so much easier once one of the members goes down in any composition. Second Wind still running strong, but iRemix gonna get that first kill. We know how important every single member of this composition can be. 2 kills now coming in from Revival, and they're giving themselves ample opportunity to just get the one tick they need to win this map.
Exactly, that's all Revival needs right here. Epps burns the Coalescence early, and Second Wind running out of bodies, running out of tanks. It's over now. Shredlock is down. It doesn't matter how hard Halo is valking if you're not on the point.
That res, I think I saw it on the top right. I think that res did end up going through, which you have to cover the body, especially in that situation. No matter if you're bronze all the way to Grandmaster, you got to cover the body if you can. Don't die by covering the body, but if you've got a 3-man advantage like they did, you can do just that. I know the Moth can be very hard to hit, but cover the body, and Revival and Second Wind covering the board right now. It's 1-1.
Exactly. Do you know how when a moth farts? When it suddenly flies in a straight line. It's relevant.
You're terrible.
Anyhow,
You're absolutely Father's Day was on Sunday. The dad jokes are over.
I'm sorry. But
I need a new casting partner.
Yeah. I mean, I need a new brain, man. I've been waiting 27 years. Yeah, but that was really good stuff from Revival right there. But I can't help but think if now Second Wind kind of bungled an opportunity. You had that bunker dismantled in a split second. Your first defense. You try it again, and sure, you have the Ashe this time around rather than the Widowmaker. There were some adjustments being made, but Clockwork comp is so extremely finicky. In fact, with an interview with the players, they said, actually, Clockwork comp is good. Theoretically, it works, but honestly, we're just people who play these heroes really well. It has maybe a little bit less to do with how the comp synergizes and how these specific players in Clockwork Vendetta play together. Because the whole goal of Clockwork comp is to go for that halt hook. And I don't think we saw, Second Wind land that combo even once in that last defense. So, it's a high risk, high reward kind of composition. Unfortunately, Second Wind got to take it back to the drawing board.
Well, it is a 1-1. Let's see what kind of picture is going to be drawing, what kind of adjustments are going to be made on both sides, as we're going to take a quick little break, and we'll be back soon.